Let's get stuck into the week's biggest stories with One Nation leader Pauline Hanson and former Labor MP Michael Danby. Great to see you both, Pauline and Michael. Now, as we head towards an election, the energy regulator has revealed massive price spikes, electricity prices going up. Chris Bowen, of course, has come up with his pathetic excuses as per usual. Have a listen.
Well, of course, policies were modelled in 2020 and 2021, and of course, with an energy price spikes right around the world since then.
Pauline, is there a single sane person in this country who believes a word that comes out of Chris Bowen's mouth?
People have lost confidence in Chris Bowen. They don't believe he should be there, and Dutton's call for his sacking, I totally agree that he should go. Most incompetent minister to handle this portfolio. Electricity prices, it had to go up. There's no way in the wide world, because we don't have enough base load power to deliver the power that we need for industries, manufacturing, homes, households, all the rest of it. So it has to go up. They're blaming the coal-fired power stations. Who's going to invest in them? Because they say no, they're shutting them down. So no investment has gone into them. The maintenance is not kept up on it. No wonder they can't run them. If they ran the coal-fired power stations at a minimum and delivered the power constantly all the time, you could reduce the cost of power at 20%. That's our policy. And go with new coal-fired power stations that are 90% emissions-free. Why sell our coal to China when they're putting in an average about a coal-fired power station one a week or one every 2 weeks? We're killing ourselves. We're destroying our prosperity, our standard of living, our way of life. For what? Wake up, people, because this government is actually destroying this country.
Michael, I agree wholeheartedly with Pauline there. Both parties, Labor and Liberal, are to blame, in my opinion, for having stuck with this net zero insanity. Do you think, I mean, you were part of a government that embarked on this net zero path, as have I said, both sides of politics. Do you think politicians are starting to realise that this net zero fantasy is actually destroying our economy and is literally not worth destroying our economy for, because the rest of the world ain't paying any attention any longer?
Chris Bowen has delivered, Rowan, a 9% increase in electricity prices in the next period for New South Wales consumers. Now, no wonder the Premier of New South Wales and the Premier of South Australia have described the energy policy as a failure. 9%. Now, the Labor Party used to be, Chris Bowen, in favour of poor people and pensioners who can't afford high electricity prices. Thank heavens that old lefty from the ACTU, Jenny George, was campaigning for 2 years in the Australian to keep that coal-fired power station in New South Wales open. Otherwise, the consumers in New South Wales would have, just as Pauline described it, no reliable base load power. So I can't understand Chris Bowen's career. He's a man who constantly fails and constantly gets promoted upwards. He was the bloke, remember, who said, if you don't like for our policies during Bill Shorten's leadership, don't vote for us. And they didn't. And Bill, who was meant to win, lost his second bid for Prime Ministership.
Now, Michael, you brought this story to my attention, which is astonishing but does not surprise me. The hypocrisy of the left. A new 4-lane highway is being cut through tens of thousands of acres of the Amazon forest. Why? To build the roads to the COP30 climate summit at their next swanky convention. Can you believe this, Michael?
Well, the fact that it's exposed on the BBC is a bit unusual, isn't it, Rowan? I mean, I thought they were part of the climate change cult or religion, as it's become. We're all against air pollution. I'm sure you and Pauline are against it too. But this transition that these people are forcing the whole world to is madness. We're just about to fall off a cliff, Ross Greenwood on this network has said, on the cost of transmission that's going to take these power price increases like the 9% in New South Wales and push them harder and further. This has just got to stop. And if I was a sincere environmentalist, I'd be campaigning for that COP conference to be closed and no roads through the rainforest.
Absolutely. Pauline, I want to talk about immigration. Just want you to have a quick listen. You might have seen this heartbreaking story on Q&A, one of the better Q&As that I've seen for a long time, where this man stood up and bravely told the story how his family has been driven out of Sydney towards homelessness, and he blames solely high immigration. Have a listen.
My family's already been forced out of Sydney for the same reasons. I want to know, is the government going to cut immigration to match housing availability, or are we just going to keep going until every regular working Australian is homeless?
Pauline, you've supposedly been accused of causing distress amongst our migrant communities by announcing your plan to deport 75,000 illegal immigrants. But surely it's the locals' distress we should be worrying about, people like that man and his family who can't afford their homes.
Rowan, it breaks my heart to actually hear this poor man say, had to move out of his home or move out of Sydney because he can't get housing. This is happening all around the world, all around the country. And just now in Brisbane, the council have been told and the police have been told to move on the homeless out of the parks and everything like that. So they've been told to move on. Where are they going to move on to? Ron, the high immigration that we've brought into the country has actually distressed a lot of Australians. My concern is for the Australians here. I don't care about the people who came out here on visas. They came here, they took out a visa. The contract was, you will stay here for only a short period of time, then you must leave the country. 75,400 are still in the country illegally. Yes, I have said I want to deport them. The funny part about it is that I'm only a minor party. I'm one senator on the floor of Parliament. Why are they so concerned about me and not the government, who should be ensuring that the law is enforced, and if they've overstayed their visa in Australia, they should have been deported. But they're more concerned about me. Does that mean say I've got more say over these people on visas overstaying in Australia? Apparently I have. They're not concerned from the government rounding them up, are they?
And Michael, would you concur that our immigration is out of control? Do we need to tow it back?
Post-COVID, Rowan and Pauline, we have brought into Australia in 1 year almost 750,000, 800,000 people. Now, in the past, I was a big Australia person. I supported Philip Ruddock and Labor's high immigration, but that was around 200,000. Who was the Dummkopf since post-COVID who brought in so many people? I know it was under pressure of our crazy Australian universities who regard universities as a business and want to bring in all of these people so they can earn more money for some administrators in the various top 20 universities. But it's too many, it was too much. It has to be rolled back to a manageable level at least. But I'd like to know the story since post-COVID of who was responsible and who let this get out of control.
Michael, I love the word Dummkopf. You had me at Dummkopf. Pauline Hanson and Michael Danby, thanks so much for talking tonight on The World According to Rowan Dean.
Great German.
Great to have you both. Yes, you're watching